To many, Oban is the beating heart of the West Islands. Its status as the unofficial capital of the West Island is relatively recent, with the modern town growing up around the whisky distillery which opened in 1794. It is also known as the seafood capital of Scotland. The town was recognised by Royal Charter in 1811 and granted further momentum with the arrival of steamships and trains. Oban confirmed its strategic importance in the Second World War, when it was an important location in the Battle of the Atlantic. Most prominent is the railway pier, departure point for trains and ferries to the Hebrides. Mallaig's Tower overlooks the town. You can reach its summit on foot from the town centre, and from there watch the black and white ferries glide across the bay. Take the A16 from Oban, then follow the B844. You will go over the bridge over the Atlantic. Again, a great place for a visit. Keep straight on, and it brings you to the village of Beach, a quiet village, a small fishing port with a ferry, which takes approximately 10 minutes to the other port of Easdale. Beach has a large shop that sells most items. This area takes the payment for staying the night. The site is quiet and has a large rock face of an old quarry. It is worth staying the night and having a walk around the coast. Mallaig lies at the end of the evocatively named Road to the Isles. It is also the terminus for the West Highland Railway from Fort William, and the focus for a network of ferry services to the small isles and to the Coin Dart Peninsula. It is somewhere that will be visited sooner or later by most travellers to the islands, and whether you arrive by road, rail or boat, you'll find a large village of great character in a simply stunning setting. After the boom of the 1960s came the bust of the 1970s. Overfishing led to quotas and other restrictions on the fishing fleet in Mallaig. It is also the main hopping-off point for those wanting to catch a ferry to the islands of Rum, Ig and Muck. And it is from Mallaig that you can catch the boat to the village of Inveree on the southern side of the Coin Dart Peninsula, and said to be the only village in Scotland with no link to the road network. The Fisherman's Mission Cafe serves a great meal, but now it's time to catch the ferry to Armadale on the Isle of Skye. The village of Uig is located on Skye's stunning Trotternish Peninsula. It is in a beautiful protected bay. There are lovely walks around the village, taking in waterfalls, woodlands and cliff tops. Uig is a great base from which to explore Skye. On the Trotternish Peninsula, there is the spectacular rock formations of the Queerang, the Old Man of Storr, Kilt Rock and the Trotternish Ridge. There are plenty of historic structures including castles, forts and standing stones. There is a beautiful beach with dinosaur footprints. The ferry from Uig runs to the Outer Hebrides. Uig is Norse for sheltered bay and is often warm and dry when there is rain further south. The 300 to 400 people who live in Uig make their livings from fishing, crofting, usually part-time, tourism and the ferry. Portree is the main town on Skye. Its name comes from the Gaelic Port and Ree, which translates as King's Port, and dates to a visit by King James V, plus a fleet of warships in 1540 to persuade the island clans to support him. The main street running parallel to the back of the harbour is Bank Street. This is perhaps best known for the Royal Hotel, in an earlier guise, MacNab's Inn. This was where Bonnie Prince Charlie bade farewell for the last time in 1746 to Flora MacDonald, who had famously conveyed him over the sea to Skye. The centre of life in Portree has to be its harbour. This is a superb natural setting, being surrounded by high ground and cliffs. The peninsula to the south is unflatteringly known as the Lump, and once provided a spectacular setting for public hangings on the island. Today the harbour continues to be used by fishing boats, but also is home to other vessels from pleasure craft to the lifeboat. We're now heading down the island towards the Isle of Lochalsh. Notice the cooling hills in front. Until the opening of the Skye Bridge, the village of Kirkwall was the main entry point to the island, with two ferries shuttling back and forth on a 5-minute crossing from the Isle of Lochalsh. Now that the ferry traffic no longer streams through the village at regular intervals, it is a peaceful place that is well worth a visit. Kirkwall today is a pleasant little fishing village with a scattering of hotels, bars and good eating places. The bridge, incidentally, marks one of its slant falls as it hops across the water on the island called Elaine Ban, which was once owned by the author Gavin Maxwell of Ring of Bright Water fame, who stayed there while he studied its otter population. Another must, on a visit to Caerleakin, is a walk to the semi-ruinous Castle Moll, which stands on the promontory a few hundred yards from the slipway. Ullapool is a lovely and bustling town compared to the surrounding area, especially around the harbour side, where you can find shops, restaurants, cafes, boat cruises and the Calmac ferry terminal. Here you can take a ferry to the Western Isles, to Stornoway on Lewis. Ullapool is not an old town. It was founded in 1788 as a herring port by the British Fisheries Society, and was designed by Thomas Telford. From the 6,000 people in Wester Ross, around 1,300 of them live in Ullapool. The Seaforth takeaway is well known and renowned for their excellent fish and chips and music evenings. When you sit on one of the small terraces near the harbour side on a sunny day, watching the fishermen landing their catch, with the mountains of Wester Ross and Loch Broom as the backdrop, you realise that this is a perfect place. You could easily spend a few hours just sitting here and watching the world go by. Every Saturday, and only on a Saturday, the ferry leaves Ullapool for Stornoway and the Outer Hebrides. On this trip, it allows you 3 hours ashore to wander around Stornoway and take in the attractions. Stornoway is the pleasant capital of the Outer Hebrides and located on the east coast of Lewis. Stornoway is also the main transport hub, with an airport, ferry terminal and bus services on the Outer Hebrides. Stornoway certainly is well worth a visit. There are several interesting buildings in the town centre, such as Stornoway Town Hall and the neo-Gothic Lewis Castle. Stornoway is also home to a museum and the Lewis Loom Centre, which is the heart of the Arras tweed industry on the Western Isles. It's 6 o'clock on a Saturday evening and we can't resist taking in a pint and the music at the Seaport.
Come on now, try and understand the way I feel when I'm in your
As you travel along the A838 from Laxford Bridge in northwest Sutherland, the rocks on your left are 3,000 million years old, and the rocks on your right are 500 million years old, and are the oldest rocks in Britain. The scenery along this road is breathtaking. This is some of the most spectacular and rugged landscapes in the country. Into the heartland of the Clan Mackay, a place famed for its exceptional geology and outstanding scenery, and one of the most sparsely populated areas in Europe. At the end of the A99 you will find the John O'Groats Caravan and Camping Site on the seafront beside the last house in Scotland. From the site you can relax and enjoy the fine panoramic views of the Pentland Firth, one of the most dangerous shipping channels in the world, with its strong ebbing and flowing sea currents and spectacular tidal races. To your left you will see the island of Stornoway, 3.5 kilometres from the mainland, inhabited by a seal colony and the occasional visitor. In front of you, you will see the Orkney Islands from Hoy on your left, then to the South Walls, Flotter, Swanner, South Ronaldsay and the Pentland Skerries at your extreme right. The capital of Orkney is the city and royal borough of Kirkwall. Looking out across Kirkwall Bay towards the island of Shippensea and the outer North Isles, the town sits almost exactly in the centre of the mainland, neatly dividing it into the district areas known simply as the West and East Mainland. Old Kirkwall was one of the most important towns of the North-Western Empire. In 1486, King James III decreed that Kirkwall be elevated to the status of royal borough. Kirkwall's skyline is dominated by St Magnus Cathedral, a must-see destination during anybody's visit. Construction work for a stone minster at Kirkwall, more magnificent than any other in Orkney, began in 1137. Built from alternating bands of red and yellow sandstone, the cathedral gradually grew, and with it the village at its feet. Upon its completion 3 centuries or so after the first foundation stone was laid, it towered over Kirkwall. St Magnus Cathedral is unique in that it actually belongs to the city and royal borough of Kirkwall. It is not, nor has ever been, the property of the church. Nestled in a corner adjacent to the cathedral are the Earl and Bishop's Palace. The Bishop's Palace, the older of the two, was built in the mid-12th century for Bishop William the Old, a friend and companion of Earl Roggevald Collison, the founder of the cathedral. The face of the town has changed and expanded, and continues to do so, with new homes and businesses continuing to appear. Thus Kirkwall now has more to offer visitors and local folk than ever before. The main waterfront of Kirkwall is an ideal way to view some of the town's more recent history, as the basin still provides shelter for crab fishing and other commercial vessels. Kirkwall Pier was the main point of entry and exit for cargo to the islands, and most of the North Isles ferries depart from here. The gently rolling landscape of Orkney has been a crossroads and safe haven for travellers for thousands of years. Here you will find some of the most important archaeological sites in Europe: Scarab Brae, Ring of Brodgar, the standing stones of Stennes, Maysow, and the newly discovered Neolithic temple at the Ness of Brodgar, to name but a few.
Right, I'm starting to be.